Welcome back to the Rent Roll Queen podcast. I'm your host, Tarsi Taylor, and today's episode is sponsored by Buy a Rent Roll, where deals meet destiny. Gratitude is the attitude. Today I chat with Alicia Wade, aka Dr. Gratitude from the Gratitude Method, about how you can implement gratitude into your business and see it propel. Welcome to the show, Alicia.
Thank you. I'm so grateful.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Gratitude in the house. Alicia, would you kindly please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Alicia and I'm also known as Dr. Gratitude. I am an author, a speaker, International Life Coach of the Year, international best-selling author. I have a whole list of things. I don't think we'll be here all day to list them all out. Basically, I do business coaching, scale businesses, and love seeing people go from 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. Let's keep going. We want it scaling more, don't we?
We do. We definitely want it scaling more than that.
And when we focus on gratitude, because that's the topic of conversation, when you come from that space of gratitude, prosperity and abundance happens magically.
It does, because, you know, for me, I changed my view and I started doing a lot of gratitude and, you know, just being grateful of where my life was and where it has come to. And when I started practicing that, I can honestly say that my whole business and my whole life changed.
Mm-hmm. And I know when I started, and I'll share a bit of my story as well, when I come from that space as well, my life just completely flipped upside down in 2015 when I had my mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And when you're left with nothing, the only thing you can do is actually be grateful for what you actually have, for the small things. When you have completely nothing, you need to find the light that is around you, because it can get pretty dark, especially with life, business, relationships, everything around you. It's important to look at those little blessings that you have around you. And then you start to see, it's like, I call it like the heartbeat, and it starts to grow and thrive. And so, when I started to have more gratitude within my life, my business and my leadership, things started to evolve very, 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 very quickly, even to the point this year when I ran for local elections.
Which are nuts, but yeah. If you saw how much this woman actually has on her plate and then put that on the mix of it, I was like, you are nuts.
Yeah. This year was the most challenging year by far. I walked 224 kilometres. I counted it all up. And
224 kilometres.
Yeah, in the space of 6 weeks or something like that.
Is this when you were door knocking?
Yeah, door knocking and letterbox dropping, like I got into the community.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that I lost by just over 200 votes, then on top of it, I found out that a friend died by suicide. Like, there was so much heaviness around me, but I was still doing gratitude every single day. And I went from like March going into a part-time job, part-time, full-time, then going back into my business, watching the business go from 4 staff to nearly 14 staff with my business partner. And our foundations are gratitude as well. The staff that we have are so grateful to have those positions because they're given opportunities. They're being fed 3 times a day. They're getting accommodation. They're getting this. We look after our team. And when you come from that space of gratitude and love, you just see things start to grow and evolve. And I know you've been a part of that too.
Yes, I have. We worked together because originally when I met you, I needed a new business coach and I was looking at getting systems and policies and procedures into my own business, and you would see me like basically fall into a heap from just being absolutely exhausted, and you know, and to where I am now is absolutely thriving. But a big change that was in my own business was having a lot more gratitude, and gratitude to all the things that had made me who I am today, and gratitude towards the people that were in my business. And yes, at that time they weren't the right people for my business. But if you look at my business now, I've started getting the right people, like people have aligned with me. And one thing that I've realized so much is that a lot of business owners in business don't come with so much gratitude. It's like you've got staff in place and it's like, oh my God, they're doing this, they're doing that. And instead of just being really grateful that somebody's got that position and finding a different way of actually knowing what they're doing, so you can have more gratitude, and then they have more gratitude, and then all of a sudden the vibe in the office is currently lifted. And the people that don't want to be on that train will fall off, but you'll find the right people very easily that come on.
And you also see the toxic energy that comes into your business too. If someone isn't grateful, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And one of the great things about having that sense of gratitude within the business, people start to be more motivated, more productivity. And on top of it, instead of seeing the mistakes and blaming and shaming, you can go back, okay, sweet. So because there's always going to be problems and mistakes happening in a business day to day, every moment. Even when I go speak on stages, there's some sort of technical issue, someone stuffed up, the microphone's not working, the camera, the computer, blah, blah, blah. You've got to think, okay, sweet, I'm so grateful for this moment, and just keep yourself grounded, because the moment that you react, that's when that negative energy starts to pop up.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, sweet. So where's the problem? How can we solve it? Once it's solved, thank you so much for solving the problem.
That's it. It's not, and also, like, thank you for the problem, because I've just learned, like, our team has now learned how to deal with this problem. Should it ever come up again, you already have the answers. It's so easy to and all of a sudden you find the efficiencies in it, and you're able to continue and flow, and then your team, like, don't fall in a heap either, because you're able to guide them in a totally different direction.
Although at times, sometimes you can go a bit crazy and go, I've said this problem about 5 times. I don't know how many more times I can say that. And you start twitching. And I know there's business people out here listening to this. Keep calm, keep grounded, and remind yourself what you're grateful for those people. And remember the hours that they're putting into this that is taking off your plate as well. So I know a lot of people tuning in will be like, yeah, but they keep making it. Yes, sometimes you sound like a broken record. Throughout my career, being an operations manager and a manager and founder of charities and stuff and presidents for stuff, sometimes you do feel like a broken record and wish that you had it. Please do it, please do it, please do it, please do it. I wish there was a magic button for things to just magically things, but you've got to remember it takes 1,000 times for a new habit or a new task to be embedded. So relax, breathe, be grateful. Okay, how many times has this mistake happened? And start to really, I always talk a lot about critical reflection and reflecting on yourself and how you react and respond to sort of situations, and then finding that gratitude in that as well.
I think a lot of business owners also don't sit back and actually look at what they've actually achieved. And there's a massive gap in that, because when you're looking at it from a day-to-day perspective, it's like, oh, it's just not going the way I want it to go, because, you know, things just happen, or, you know, you have to put the handbrakes on something that has to come out, or, you know, just any life is life. Life is genuinely life. And, you know, there's going to be good days and bad days. But what I have done and started doing is reflecting more. And you taught me a lot of this, where it was like, sit back and actually have a look at what you've actually achieved in your life. And it was like, I do it every year around Christmas. Like, that is something that I definitely do. I know. I am so listening. I do listen sometimes, okay? Not very often, but sometimes. And I do it in my way, as Alicia knows. Tarsi does everything in her way and her timing.
Like this exhibit A.
So for anyone who hasn't listened to some of the other shows, I have this podcast that I created. Alicia was up my ass about doing videos for probably the last 2 years or so. And all she's wanted is video content. And I said to her very clearly, it will be done, but it will be done my way, not your way, and when you're telling me to do it. And here's me over the last 3 weeks recording my very first podcast show. But I now have 40 videos or 40 shows that I am now literally able to give to Alicia and her marketing team to take and actually market. So I did tell you it was coming, but it was just coming my way and in my timing.
Can I say congratulations on all the hard work you've done? And
oh, thank you.
Like sometimes we don't take that step back to notice what we're doing, even though it might kill us in the interim of it. Even me coming down to this, it's like, how can I squeeze the life out of everything that I do and the time? And I know you do the same. And it's coming from that space of gratitude, like, oh, I'm so grateful for all the moments that I have.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to actually put this all together, and now I'm finally giving back the way that I've always dreamt of giving back. So I'm so grateful, and I'm grateful for everybody who's been on my show. So I have that to be thankful for. So that's one thing. But then I've also got other work, so I'm very grateful for that. I created the conference as well, you know, REBOC, like that was out as well. So when I look back at my last 12 months has been mental, but the amount that I've actually achieved and the time I've spent with my children and my husband, like I am so grateful for every opportunity that has happened in the last 12 months. But it's not also looking at 12 months because sometimes that's a little bit further out. It's actually sitting down every month and going, well, what did I achieve this month? Because the days go so quickly. So it's really looking at what you've actually done and just being like, oh my God, I achieved X, Y, Z this month. And then that actually drives you further because you've got gratitude for what you've actually achieved or what your team have achieved. And then you can go the next level because it just drives you to just keep going. Instead of actually burning out, you go, oh my God, I did all these amazing things. I'm so grateful for these people who have actually helped me. I do send out text messages and I do send out emails, or I do personally, verbally, I say my gratitude to the people who I'm so grateful for. You've received text messages from me and stuff as well. And that actually just keeps me going. Yeah, well, it keeps us going because that's what you do. But in business, I do see a lot of business owners who are really struggling with staff or are really struggling to, you know, keep their head above water and, you know, or find those new listings or find that or grow their business. And it's like, well, if you actually sat down and had a look at what you've actually achieved and you knew your numbers properly, you'd actually see you've actually grown amazingly.
And that's the hardest thing is like you can be your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And once you've achieved, it's like, okay, great. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And in a high paced and fast moving industry, and I've worked in many industries.
Real estate's definitely one of them. Very high paced.
Even early childhood education. And I've spoken to you about that. That's just ridiculous because you've got children, adults, families, staff, and it's just crazy the energy that's put in there.
Don't worry. If you ask any real estate business owner, sometimes they think it is like a childcare centre.
Exactly right. Big kids. But it's just taking that time out. To stop, pause and reflect when you do that. And I love that you do that monthly. I also suggest doing it every half year and also quarterly as well. So you can see all of the moving parts. It's a bit of the goal setting that I do as a business coach. I do the wild important goals, then break it down to your 6 monthly, your quarterly. You're nodding because you've done this whole process.
Because I've done this whole process and I do it. But what's really funny is, yes, we've done that, right? But every year in October, I sit down now and plan my whole next year ahead.
Yeah.
So there's so much that I do, but it allows me to keep moving at the pace that I do. And same for business owners, right? Like if you're looking at scaling your business, and I always say this to clients when they first come and start working with me is, what is your end goal? Like, tell me your end goal so we can actually drive it there. Because then you've got to break every goal down, right? And then once you can break every goal down and you start working towards it, it's like, okay, well, what am I grateful for? And then you can have your list. And did I actually meet the marketing or the scope that I was trying to meet to make this actual dream or goal come to life? So it's reflecting on everything that I've actually done. And being able to do that. And the same with my clients. I'm constantly like, you've got to give yourself some credit for what you've actually created. I know. Do I sound a little bit like you? I don't know.
I don't really rubbed off.
Because I feel like I teach you things too. So, you know, it's a little bit back and forth.
It's back and forth all the time. I think we mirror and reflect and grow with each other, and then downloads will come in our conversations as well. That's a brilliant idea. Okay, sweet. Well, how can I implement this? Great. Let's do this and roll with it. So, and when those downloads come,
they're pretty massive.
Yeah, I get it.
They're pretty massive. But another thing that was, you know, that I'm really grateful for is the fact that I've let go of a lot of things over the last 12 months in my own business, which was, you know, a lot of business owners have a lot of control energy in their businesses. So it's really hard to kind of just sit back and go, okay, well, that person is responsible for property management, let's say. How can I better service them so that they can step up and be more in control of that while you're still in control of the business? Whereas for myself, it was marketing. Like marketing was a space where I had a lot of control over, and it was letting go a lot of that this year and turning that over to a marketing team that were able to actually be the consistency that I needed within my business.
Especially if you get busy, because too many times I see a lot of business owners, even influencers, people that are solopreneurs, and they've got to have that control over it. Oh, but they don't know how to talk like me. And it's like, well, how are you mentoring the team so they do talk like you?
Yeah.
And now we have the power of AI. So how are you priming your things and your platforms
ChatGPT,
talk like you, because you can manipulate stuff so it starts talking like you. And it does take time to prime things as well. And it's figuring out, okay, well, what have you done so you can prime the systems? So then I know we're going through this at the moment, and I go through it with my systems as well. And it's like, how can I make it sound more like me? So then I can just keep handing it over, letting go, surrendering those words, and trusting. They're three big words that I come across a lot with CEOs and with business owners. Those three words are the hardest, especially when scaling, because it's out of your control. You're not in control anymore. You can only watch the behaviors and the performance, and that's it. And that's where you manage, where it's not control, it's managing the flow of the energy and how it goes. When you can manage that and start to see that, you can then have really cool things starting to grow and develop.
Yeah, and it is, as business owners, we do need to let go more of, because not every business owner wants to remain. Like, when you talk to a business owner, a lot of people still think that they have to work in the business. You've got a lot of selling principals who do want to scale their business, or they're running their department, like property management department, instead of going, I actually just want to be the leader and the mentor. And let me mentor these other people, like, who want to be in those big sales positions and in property, and scale that property management department, and then be that leader, versus actually being like in the business, being this like dominant salesperson and so forth. So it is looking at how can I let go of the control. But one great part of it, and the best way that I've actually found to do it, is through the works of gratitude.
Because when you start to see and be grateful for the things that are happening rather than not happening, it's that lack of to abundance. And that's the biggest word that we've been talking about. When you start to see the things that you have rather versus what you don't have. It outweighs it. So you can't have a negative mindset and a positive mindset at the same time. So neurologically, our brains aren't wired to do that. And if you shift that energy in your business, then it shifts all the energy that's in the business. And things start to grow and thrive. And instead of coming from a survival mechanism and being in this flight, fight, freeze, anxiety, depression, we've got it all around. Well, where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you want to focus on that negativity and the mistakes and this and that, yes, they do happen, and we have spoken about it. But how can you focus on more of that drive of abundance and gratitude, because that's where the opportunities will grow.
So what are some tips that you can give people who want to go into the gratitude space and really, really excel their businesses?
I ask them, go to your staff members and say thank you. Write a letter, and start really simple. Write a letter to each employee. If you have time to do it.
Make time to do it.
Make time to do it. I always say make time. But start off like that. Write a letter and read it out to every single person, and watch people's faces and how they react and respond. And so there may be something that might happen here, but it brings more love, more connection, and more collaboration in the workspace. Some workspaces that I've worked in and seen is they've had a gratitude wall, and they write what they're grateful for about their team members and put sticky notes, or they have like chalk walls. Some even have gratitude jars and write what they're grateful for. And at the end of the year at their team meeting or Christmas party, they open it up and they read out each of the things that they're grateful for their team members. Like, it's endless, the possibilities. And I'm currently doing 365 days of gratitude through my YouTube channel, and there's activities in there that people can grab some ideas on. Some of them may not be work related, they can be personal as well. But some of those ideas help you with building a business that has the foundations of gratitude. And the more that you can incorporate more grateful moments, and you can do it everywhere, anywhere. It's free, it's accessible. You just have to say the words, honestly, or write a letter. But it's so free and accessible, it doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
And at what cost is it going to be if you don't do it?
Oh, I never thought of it like that.
You just had a massive drop there.
I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. Well, it's true, because, with gratitude, it lifts the vibration, and you just have this different vibe in your office. And like I said, the people who are meant to be on that train will actually just jump off. And that's okay too. And then you can be really grateful for everything that they did in the business. And then somebody else will come along who's a completely different mindset as yours changes.
And sometimes when you let go of that particular people within a business, all of a sudden you'll have a flow-on effect of so much more that comes into the business as well. It's crazy when you have, it could be that one person or a particular behavior that you see that's just bringing you feel the energy. Like when I ask people, how does it feel? What does it look like? It's always heavy, black, dark, and gloomy, and it sounds sad. And people are able to describe it. And then all of a sudden they let go of it. It's bright, it's light, it's happy, it's free. So why have that? I don't understand why people hold on to people that they don't want to let them go, because number one, staffing is a big issue everywhere you go. Yeah. However, to what cost? What benefit is it going to be for your business? Is it really a benefit? It sounds like it's costing you a ton. It's costing you your mental health, your emotional resilience, your emotional intelligence. Like I don't understand this.
And this is the thing, like once you start practicing gratitude in your business, you start doing it for yourself personally, because, you are your business. So, when you start looking at it, like I'm always grateful for my children, my husband, my dogs, my home, those sorts of things. Yeah, so do I. So do I. My fur babies, Lycosaurus. But you start having gratitude in your personal life, and all of a sudden that shifts and changes as well. So like you said, gratitude is something you can do for free. But it brings so much abundance into your life and into your business, and all of a sudden you just can scale at such a rapid rate.
Exactly right. And it's what helps relationships thrive and grow. And you talked a lot before about writing messages to people.
Yeah.
And so it's continuing to build those relationships with people. When you have good relationships with people, you have people with you long term rather than the short term transaction. So because being in the real estate industry, it's all transaction, money, figures, this, that.
Yeah.
If you shift that focus to, okay, how can I be more grateful for the relationships that I have around me? How have I nurtured everybody around me? When you start looking from that heart space rather than the head space and the numbers and all of that, that shifts gears, and then you just see it grow and thrive.
Alicia, thank you so much for coming on the show today. What I'm going to do is put all the Dr. Gratitude information into the caption, and anybody who wants to reach out to you to get some more ideas, or to even have a look at your little system that you've got, or big system really, of how you can have more gratitude in your life, all the details will be there.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to connecting with more people, and thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be here.
I'm grateful that you're on the show too.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks.